All right, so this is, let's see, this is 1.2.1. So I kind of changed how I'm doing the numbers. So this just means Unit 1, Lesson 2, and the first part of that lesson. But here are the things to ponder. Whose responsibility is it to learn? What is an excellent way to study? And what is one thing we are pretty sure is causing the phenomenon to happen? I'm going to move on. Please pause it so you answer that. It's all of it's my responsibility to teach you well. It's your responsibility to learn and to put in effort into thinking, into studying, into getting enough sleep, coming to school, paying attention, all that stuff. And it also takes the community, right? The people in the classroom need to be focused and doing what they need to be doing too. The more you know, the easier it is to learn. This is a very basic, fundamental concept in educational psychology. The more stuff that we know, the better, the more other things that we can learn, and the easier it is that we can learn. So that's one of the reasons we're doing this process. I'm going to talk to you about the Leitner system, which is about flashcards, and how the best way to use a flashcard is. A flashcard, the very first thing you should do is what it says there, create your own flashcards. You write the question on one side of a card and the answer on the other. Okay, you have to set it up to where you cannot see the answer. And the other thing you need to do is you need to have like 3 boxes or bags, rubber bands, some way to do 3 piles. Okay, so you need to have this understanding of this 3. And so what are you going to do? You want to make your first group of flashcards and you study each card. You say the question out loud and then you either say the answer out loud or you write it down. You have to commit. You have to do something. If you got the question right, it goes into pile number 2, box number 2, bag number 2, rubber band number 2, something. Okay, so it's like you got it right and you moved on. If you got it wrong, it stays in that pile number 1, that bag number 1, the box number 1. We want to study the flashcards in bag number 1, box number 1 every single day. Okay, so every day I spend about 5 minutes and I look through number 1. And if I get it right, it goes to number 2. If I get it wrong, it stays. I want to look at pile number 2 about every 3 days. And what happens if I look on pile 2 and I'm asking the question and answering it? If I get it right, it moves up to pile 3. If I get it wrong, it goes back to pile number 1. It goes back to pile number 1. So again, I'm looking at it again in 1. If I get it right, it goes to 2. When I look at 2s, it moves to 3s. How often should I look at the 3 pile? Once a week. So once a week, I'm looking at the 3s. Now, some people make a 4th pile that they look at once a month, or then that's mastery. But here, if you do these 3 piles and you do this process, man, you're going to learn a ton. One thing you have to do is mix up the cards. You shouldn't look at them in the same order. That is a kind of a cheaty way that we start to learn and memorize stuff. But when it gets mixed up, it's way better, and we have to think about things. This leverages a few things about cognitive science that are very powerful for learning. One of those things is spacing. So spacing is when we do a little bit every day or every few days instead of doing all of it at once. So spacing is very important, and interleaving. So when we mix things together, when we mix those flashcards up, that makes us think. So thinking is good. My recommendation would be to start with this week's mini things. That's the flashcards. Like today, you would make 5 flashcards of the mini thing, and then study those. Which ones did you get right? Move to pile 2. Which ones did you get wrong? Stick in pile 1. Tomorrow, you make more flashcards, study pile 1. The next day, you make more pile cards, study number 1, and then I should probably make a system for that. I'll do that. Okay. Again, take a moment. What do you remember? All that good stuff. And I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. I've been seeing a lot of arrows in people's models. When I write a word and then draw an arrow to that thing, that is not an actual label. Or that's not an arrow. Sorry. That's a label. So arrows show movement. You have to show movement using arrows. Okay, so if you write a word, draw an arrow to the thing, you haven't actually used an arrow. You've used a label. When we talk about this, remember, expectation is that you're looking for that phenomenon, that one-way mirror outside in the natural world. If you see it and you're able to take a photo, take a photo. If you're not, draw a picture. Your responsibility to do that. We took the one-way mirror out of the box today, and we held it up, and there's a dark tint on it. In fact, I wonder... Can't show. I should have had the camera on, but it's kind of too late for that. But you can see through it. It's hard to make it a mirror. If you kind of put it in a light, it turns it into a mirror. So those are some things that we noticed. We also tried moving the light from one room to the other to see what happens. And basically what we observed was that whatever room the light is on, that side of the mirror is a mirror. And the side that's dark, that side of the room, you can see through it. Okay, so that's something. So we've noticed that it's differences in light. So if we think about those things that happen out in the world, like sunglasses, is there a difference in light there? Yep, behind the sunglasses it's dark. In front of the sunglasses it's light. If we think about cars, inside the car is darker than outside the car. Water, above, like outside of the water, it's bright. Inside the water, it's darker. So there are these differences in light. So we think that's going to be a big thing. And because of that, we wanted to make sure, because scientists try to disprove their ideas. So we think it's a difference in light. So how could we make it not different? Well, there's two ways to make light not different. One is to have the flashlights on in both rooms. And the other would be to not have light on at all. So we separated and took about 5 minutes to do some observations. At that point, we ended the class. We didn't really think about stuff, or we didn't share, pardon me, those observations. We're going to do that in the next session. So let's go to the mini thing. Whose responsibility is it to learn? Again, I'm just going to go quicker, so pause it. I'm going to go in 3, 2, 1. It's yours and mine. It's everybody in class. What is the first step in the Leitner system? 3, 2, 1. It's making your own flashcards. How often should you study the flashcards in box 1, bag 1, pile 1 of the Leitner system? 3, 2, 1. Every single day. Why do we use arrows on models in 3, 2, 1? To show movement. And what happens with light? In order for the one-way mirror phenomenon to work, we have to have a difference in the light. Well, there you are. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.